It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs having fun.
Happy Wednesday morning, everybody, and welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live from White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. John Schmeelk and the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa, with you right here on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Bobby Pops, welcome to West Virginia, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Day number 2 for me here in West Virginia, and excited to watch the Giants in pads again today. Enjoyed watching things yesterday, and I guess the big question is hopefully the rain holds off.
Yeah, there's rain in the forecast. You can see behind us. Doesn't look too bad yet. Usually you will see the dark clouds over those hills behind us as the rain comes in. So far, so good. Hopefully it won't be a repeat of Monday when we all kind of walked around with squishy shoes for about 3 hours after practice.
Yeah. Coach Harbaugh seems to embrace the adverse conditions,
Yes.
though. He is certainly making sure that this first part of training camp is pretty grueling, and they'll be in pads for a third straight day today. And by league rule, you can't be in pads 4 straight days, so they won't be tomorrow. But before they wrap things up on Saturday, he plans on using this facility, using these fields, and getting as much work in as he can.
Yeah, and I think the experience has been overwhelmingly positive so far, Bob, to be honest with you. Everyone seems to be happy. The staff here has been great. This facility is, I'm not going to use the word perfect because nothing's perfect, but it fits exactly what the team needs in terms of meeting rooms. They got room for the gym downstairs. There's 2 beautiful grass practice fields that have held up to NFL football players, which is, as you know, very different than, fairways and very different than soccer pitches. And I think so far everything's gone very well.
Yeah, remember the New Orleans Saints were the first team to ever come here, and then there were other teams that used this facility, so they've built sort of a structure that can handle what would be a training camp, as if, when Giants used to go to FDU Madison or they went to Albany and they went to these college campuses. This is definitely a level up from those experiences, and it's pretty comfortable. And, this building right here, they've got it all set up, and I think everything has gone really well. And I know coaches enjoyed it, and they, the staff worked long and hard on all the logistics to make this happen, but it's been pretty smooth, and I think that's all the players could ask for.
All right, so you were at practice with me yesterday watching things. It was fun. We'll head out there again today. First ever padded practice you've seen from John Harbaugh. Give me your takeaways. Very different.
Very different. Having been to Giants training camp as part of the broadcast team since Bill Parcells was still the head coach in 1988, this felt more like old school than the new school thing that we've been accustomed to. Now, obviously, that was 2-a-days. It was padded practice every day. There were no rules that they have now. The collective bargaining agreement that came to fruition in 2011 changed everything. But the thing that I was amazed at is the lack of breaks that there are during the practice.
No water breaks.
Prolonged breaks. There's obviously the players, before you go crazy, they're not being deprived of water. We're not in the 70s. They're not giving them salt tablets. There's plenty of water and Gatorade, and everything is accessible, but the pace of the practice is so intense. And, over the last couple of regimes that have been here, you compare it to that, and it felt like there was so much downtime during even the padded practices. And even the live periods in the past were live for very short periods of time. This is live like the entire practice.
Yeah, I was talking to Carl. That's going to air on the Giants Huddle next week. And even during the heavier practices, you would have like a walkthrough period in the middle of the second half of practice to give the guys a break. Now it's no. All right, we're going to go from 1-on-1s to 7-on-7 to team to 2-minute, all back to back for like an hour and 15 minutes. Like it's serious.
Yeah, you know what? You know how much of a relief it was to be watching practice, and you're starting to get into the practice and what's happening in the practice, and the practice stops, and then the 5 garbage cans come out. and the defense goes over there, and the offense is over here, and the garbage cans are out, and then it's like a little walk-through, and it's like, what's the point? None of that. The only
little walkthrough.
The only garbage cans being used are for the trash around the field that you would put your water bottles in.
I just want to be clear about something because I don't want to make people think that, this was just a Brian Dable thing. This is what most modern NFL practices look like that me and Bob been talking about. This is just load management, keep the guys healthy. So it's not that Brian Dable did it this way and no one else is. That was just kind of the way the modern NFL was going for all teams around the league, is my understanding. At least now I'm not in all these practices, but that's my understanding. This is, to your point, just much more what a practice would look like. I'm not going to say 20 years ago, because your point, that's when you were having two-a-days, but let's say 2012, right, after the CBA, but it was still kind of that old school feel when they were trying to get as much out of practice as you can.
I even remember before the new CBA, Tom Coughlin, after winning the first Super Bowl, and in the ensuing years, his training camps definitely became a little bit more modified, right? I mean, it was not as intense as his firsts, and definitely not like what he was doing in Jacksonville. And Sirius XM NFL Radio had me go do Eagles camp. So I drove from Albany to the Eagles camp, and I was shocked at how physical Andy Reid's camps were, even compared to Coughlin's. And Andy Reid still runs. I think if you looked at a Kansas City Chiefs training camp and what they're doing right now, and you compared it to a John Harbaugh, there are a ton of similarities. And I think,
and Tomlin ran it similar to those two guys too, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I think that, it's a little bit of that old school mentality wrapped in the new rules. But I like it. It's enjoyable to watch. I found myself getting bored in the past at some of these practices because there was not the same kind of flow. I love going from drill to drill to drill. And talking with Coach Harbaugh yesterday after practice, I asked him about situational football, and he goes, we work backwards to frontwards, like we're working on all the stuff now. And then we'll keep working backwards because we want to reinforce this stuff heavily then when we peel back and start over again, because things that they're working on right now, situational, are things that could pop up in week 1, could pop up in week 15. Like he talked about, the free kick at the end of a half, about fair catching a ball on the last play of the half and then being able to have a free kick to get points, and just working through all those mechanics and stuff. So it's fascinating to watch him work, and it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, it really is. In terms of the players, from what you saw yesterday, what has kind of jumped out at you with some of the guys on the field so far?
Let's see. What jumped out at me? Calvin Austin is really, I think Giants fans are going to be really pleased, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but he's going to make Giants fans easily forget Wan'Dale Robinson. He does a lot of the same things. He's really good in space. He makes a lot less money, and I think he's going to fit into that role nicely. I like watching Darnell Mooney work, Odell Beckham Jr., watching him yesterday. And I just talked to him a few minutes ago when we were coming up the stairs. He was going down to get a water or something. We chatted a little bit. And he just talked about, kicking off some of the rust, just getting a feel for where his place is within this offense, and then, creating those spaces that, as he said, that they don't go away. Still kind of feeling his way. But, I watched him a bunch yesterday, and he was getting open a lot. He didn't get the results because I think Jackson Dart is still learning about him. And yesterday, after practice, he and Jameis Winston and Calvin Austin and Jackson Dart went down to the other end of the field, and they just were working on things. Just for them to get a feel of him coming in and out of his breaks and stuff like that. And, you saw Sean O'Hara working with CeCe Mawanoa off on the side, working on hand placement stuff. And it was really cool, too, watching Evan Neal, who's a guy that is kind of fighting for his position on the roster. There's no guarantee he's going to be here. But after practice, doing one-on-one stuff with one of the younger players, trying to help one of the younger players with his footwork and things like that. So I feel there's a real collaborative effort going on here. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that one of the things that I noticed in yesterday's practice was Arvell Reese. And
Hard to miss him.
it's unbelievable, John. I mean, it feels like, Saquon, obviously the very first day Saquon was on the field, Saquon Barkley, you knew was like a difference maker. When you watch Arvell Reese and you sit there and you watch him, this is only a week and a half into camp, and you're like, that's a no-brainer. He's a no-brainer player.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I think all the rookies have looked good. CeCe Maui and Owen one-on-ones, and in some of the first 9-on-7 drills you saw yesterday, I thought they moved guys around really well. I do expect today to be a very, very heavy practice as well, to be honest with you, on the third day of pads. So I bet you'll see more of that. We got wide receiver DB one-on-ones for the first time, Bob. We got red zone work for the first time. We had not done or seen them do any red zone work until yesterday. So they're really starting to open it up now, and they're making sure they're getting everything in that they need to get done.
And I was watching Colton Hood.
He's looked good too, by the way.
He was looking, Odell put him in the blender a couple times, but I really liked the way he adjusted during the course of practice. And then he made a play yesterday where it was a tough, contested throw. The receiver could have made the catch.
Bo Collins, I think, right?
Yeah,
Bo Collins,
and the way he got his hands in the end zone, he did exactly what you teach a DB. Like, when the ball's coming in, get your hand up in and rake. And he did that, and he forced an incompletion. Pinnock, Jason Pinnock's one of my favorites.
Oh, me too. I love Pinnock.
He made a couple plays yesterday. One thing was really interesting when they were in the low red zone. They had Odell lined up in, like, the right slot. And they had it was Colton Hood was there, and Javon Holland was there, and it was almost like even in practice, or maybe it was Paulson Adebo. I think it was Hood. Hood pre-snap immediately takes a half step to the outside, and Holland immediately rotates over. And even like in a practice, a red zone practice, the respect that they had for Odell Beckham Jr. is they basically doubled him to make sure Jackson Dart didn't go there. And that's when Jackson Dart ran it in for a touchdown, and then he flipped the ball. And Coach Harbaugh immediately pointed out that's a 15-yard penalty. They made the extra kick, the extra point, 15 yards further, and then that was an area of emphasis of we don't do that.
Yeah, and finally, just about Odell, because I know fans have called up a lot about him, and we've made this point. I just want to throw it at you. He's not going to be that guy that you're going to throw the slant to and he's going to split two Raven defenders and run 80 yards for the touchdown anymore. That's fine. By the way, I don't even think he was that guy the last year he was here with us after he broke his ankle that one year, to be honest with you. That's when I think some of that explosion kind of disappeared, and then he had all the knee issues after he left and all that stuff, obviously. But he could still be a guy that is going to have surefire hands, know how to find open space in zones, is shifty enough as a route runner where he can get open, where he can be your dependable, all right, it's 3rd and 6, who are we going to here? All right, Odell can win on an 8-yard comeback route or something like that. That could be a great role for him in this offense.
Yeah, and I saw a play yesterday where it was an extended play because the defense, which is very aggressive, had it covered up well in the red zone, and then Odell just, with his instincts, found open space and made himself available to Jackson Dart, which... that's just instinct.
Mm-hmm.
It's instinct and it's body movement where he just knows where the soft spot is, and he created some opportunity. So, that's good to see. I thought Theo Johnson might have had a little bit of a rough day yesterday catching the football at times. There were a couple balls that he probably should have grabbed. But I'm really impressed with the defense, the coaching of the defense, and kind of what they're building upon, which is high intensity, and this is an attacking defense. That's for sure. I mean, I know fans watching the last couple of years have been frustrated. You won't be frustrated with Coach Wilson's style of the way he wants everybody to play, because they are downhill at all points.
And there's even been around the line of scrimmage some like Brian Flores looking stuff where everyone's standing up. You don't know who's coming and who's going. there's been a lot of interesting looking formations that I think people will get excited about when we get to the regular season. Hey, everybody, don't forget, go check out the Giants Huddle podcast. We got some great interviews up there. Mike Garafolo joined us on Monday. That's up there. Today, my interview with Sean O'Hara. We got Brian Baldinger coming up on Friday, and then Carl Banks on Monday. So a lot of good episodes coming your way in the Giants Huddle podcast. Make sure you tune in and check it out. You can find it on the Giants app, thegiants.com/podcast. You can find it on the Giants YouTube channel, or just go to your favorite podcast platform, search for Giants Huddle, or search for Giants Podcast Network. Click that subscribe button. Every episode we do will be automatically sent to your phone. It's a great way to listen. You don't have to look at me while you're watching it. You can just hear me, which, trust me, you can ask my wife. It's a lot more preferable to just hear me than to have to look at me. So make sure you do that. Also, don't forget you can run or walk with Giants Legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K racing kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, November 8th at 9 a.m. That's before the Giants are playing in Philadelphia against the Eagles at MetLife Stadium. The run is at MetLife Stadium. The game is in Philly. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt. And after the race, stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at Giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation.
Well, for a second, I thought it was a race to Philadelphia.
No, I think that'd be a little bit more than a 5K,
Yeah.
Bob. I'm not sure how many people would make that. Brandon London's hosting that event, which he does a really good job emceeing that thing, so that'll be fun. I know last year Tiki was there because he came right over to the facility to do the pregame show afterwards before the Eagles game. Unfortunately, I had to sit in my car for an hour to get into the facility for the race to end in order to do the pregame show.
There you go.
That was fun. All right, let's go to Allison in Virginia Beach. She's going to lead us off today. Allison, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
What can we do for you, Allison? What's on your mind?
I'd just like to talk about what do y'all think of the Giants' future? What do you see out of them for the season?
No, I appreciate it, Allison. Bob, what do you? I've been asked this expectation question a million times, and I've given my same answer. People are tired of hearing from me. What are your kind of expectations and overall thoughts? Well, but not on this show.
Not on this show. I think they're going to be – well, you think about last year, and I know the team is different. Obviously, they've changed personnel. They've changed coaching staff. But this team was in position to win games, and they found ways to lose games. Okay? Think about the Dallas game early in the season. Everybody remembers the Denver game, obviously. And there were a few others.
Bears.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a situation like this, you know going into the game that you have a head coach and a coaching staff that knows how to finish. You don't win 193 games. You don't win over 60% of your games as a head coach in the National Football League by luck, especially over a long period of time. So I think that this team will be very competitive. I think that they're going to have an opportunity to win maybe some games in which they're fighting over their head as far as weight class is concerned. And I don't think they're going to cost themselves opportunities to win games against teams in their weight class. I always like to use the boxing analogy. And we know that the Giants at this point in time are not what you would consider a Super Bowl contender, right? We know what that looks like. We've experienced that under Coach Coughlin, where going into the season, you're like, this team can get to the Super Bowl. This team, you look at it as this team could be a playoff team. That's kind of the expectation level, depending on how everything falls. But I think they have an opportunity to, at least when we're in December and there's 4 or 5 games to go in the season, that you can start doing math and saying, all right, with a win in this one and that one, we got a chance to make it to the postseason. And I think as fans, that's all you can ask for at this point.
The analogy I've been using is when you sit down on Thanksgiving, you got your little drumstick, you're eating your little sweet potato casserole, and they put that big graphic on, and it says division leaders, wild card teams, and then in the hunt. Just be on the graphic. There's been too many years where the Giants have not even been, like, the logo's nowhere near the graphic.
No, the logo was gone by Halloween
yes,
a few
that's correct.
times.
So you said December, Halloween, right very end of November, beginning of December.
Well, the only reason why I say
be in the hunt.
The only reason why I say December is because with the season being pushed out, right? So like
that's a good point. Because the season ends January 13th, right?
Yeah. So if you get to the first week of December, right? I mean, you still have 6 games left.
You make a good point.
So like my whole thing is in early December, as you're getting ready to go to a holiday party of some sort, and there's going to be primetime games on in December, it feels like almost every night of the week. So you might, when they put the graphic up then, you want to see Giant logo in the hunt.
Yes.
I think that would be all you could really ask for.
You're right, because I guess Thanksgiving, there's almost like 7 games left now, right?
Yeah,
Probably a lot
it's
of
like
games.
the midway point.
Nah, that's a good point. Allison, anything else?
Let's see. What do you think stands out at training camp?
Look, I think it's just the intensity of the practices, Allison, and thank you so much for the call. We appreciate you listening and calling in. And I think the rookie class has really shined, Bob. I think all these guys, and we even mentioned J.C. Davis, in one-on-ones, J.C. Davis has done a really nice job on the edge. He's done a nice job. Bobby Jamison-Travis has had a couple moments. Jack Kelly, who really wasn't asked to cover much at all in college, has had some really nice coverage plays, like down the field, which I was not expecting to see. I thought that's something he would have to slowly learn over a couple years covering the NFL, but he's had a couple plays down the field. Malachi Fields has caught some passes down the field with his long strides, kind of getting over the top on some defensive backs, and we talked about the other three. So I think the rookie class has been very impressive so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kelly, the point on him coming out was the football IQ, and I think we're kind of seeing that. So for what he doesn't know as a rookie, his football IQ is making up for it a little bit,
and instincts.
He's got a lot of good instincts. Listen, I mean, Giant rookies are going to play a big role in this team this season. They're going to be the top 4 picks are going to have significant hands in the team's fortunes of being successful or not being successful.
We know Reese and Maui Noah are going to be. I mean, I don't think we know it, but we're pretty sure they're going to be full-time starters at the beginning of the year. I think we'd be shocked if they weren't. But I think it'll be interesting to see how quickly Fields and Hood can push themselves into more than just part-time roles at the beginning of the year. I think that's something that'll be very interesting to watch because both guys have some competition ahead of them, right? Fields, if Neighbors is back and he's good to go, he's got Slayton ahead of him, potentially Odell. You mentioned Calvin Austin. And then Hood, Deontay Banks has been really good. You have Newsome that they brought in, and then you have Paulson Adebo. So there are good players in front of Hood and Fields, but do they play well enough to force their way onto the field into bigger roles, and how early do they do it?
Right. And Drew Phillips, too. You got to mention him as part of that
I always see him as more of a nickel. That's why I'm more of an
Correct.
inside guy than an outside guy.
But, I mean, I think the competition is good, and I think they've upgraded the talent here in a big-time way. And, I think that kind of raises the level of everything. And you mentioned Malik Neighbors. I mean, I know he's not practicing, but just watching him off on the side.
Well, not practicing the team. He is doing individual
correct.
stuff, yes.
Yeah, just watching him, I mean, I don't know. Now I understand why he wasn't on PUP to start training camp. Like, we're seeing him. He looks good.
Well, Bob, the fact that last week Brandon London and I actually had a legitimate discussion as to whether or not he's going to want to get a snap or two in the final preseason game. When me and you were talking a month ago, that wouldn't even have been a whisper of a conversation that we would have had.
No, because to the Giants' credit and to everybody's credit, they know what they know. They're not sharing information because if you start to share information, then it becomes like a daily soap opera.
And an expectations game.
An expectation. It's like when coaches sometimes will say, we should have him back in 4 to 5 weeks. And then all of a sudden he's not. And then it becomes like this.
Is it a setback?
You don't know how everybody heals differently. But it certainly looked to me like when I saw Malik Neighbors yesterday and I said, well, now I know why he wasn't put on PUP. Because we had speculation on our Sirius XM show. We had speculation on the podcast that Banks and I do. But we were armed with no information other than whatever little information was being talked about. The player himself wasn't posting stuff all over social media about daily workouts and all that.
And give him credit for that, too, because some NFL players love to do those off-season workout videos. You didn't hear a peep from Malik Neighbors. Good for him.
No, I mean, he just went about his business. Yep. And I think I'm excited to see when he's going to get out there. I don't know when he's going to get out there and do more, but he certainly looks like he's getting closer to that.
I agree. All right, let's go to Roberto in Florida. He's up next. Hey, Roberto.
Hey, John. I I'm excited because, first of all, Mr. Papa, this guy's a legend in broadcasting, so I'm going to remember this call for many, many years to come, right?
Where are you in Florida, Roberto?
Yeah, and, I had high expectations for Gunner and Hyatt to compete for the slot receiver, right? But now that you got Beckham, you got Likely, you know how Harbaugh like to use tight ends in the slot as well. I don't know what that leaves Hyatt, because Hyatt hasn't played to his expectations. Now, check this out, right?
He had a good. I will say this: he had a really nice practice yesterday, Jalen Hyatt.
Well, good, because I can see him at least returning kickoffs. But my thing is with Banks, and I love the drafting of Hoods, but Banks being in his last year of his contract, I'm quite sure right now he's practicing at a different level. The same with Thibodeau. Let's remember we got the best defensive player in the draft. And I'm going to say this and shut it down because I want some feedback, especially on Alexander, where he had today. This is the last time the New York Giants are going to pick 5th overall.
I hope so.
For a long time. I can see us picking within the next years in between 17 and 23, because we are heading in that direction. With that, give me some thoughts on what I just said. And Mr. Papa, I am so honored. Oh, my God, I'm honored. God bless you guys, and let me hear from you guys.
Thanks, Roberto.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Roberto. Thanks for the kind words.
Nice to be succinct, by the way. Good job, Roberto.
I'm trying to think of the areas. I mean, I don't see Hyatt being used in a slot.
No,
he's an outside receiver. He's a deep threat kind of guy. He mentioned Darius Alexander as an example. I think he's a guy that certainly is going to take that next step, right? There's a big jump between rookie year and second year. And they mature, their bodies mature, they go through a full off season. They understand the game. It slows down for them a little bit. They're going to need Darius Alexander to play well for them. And I don't know. Do you remember some of the other points he made? Because he had a couple questions.
He was. Roberto likes to sprinkle a lot into his calls. I thought Alexander has done a pretty nice job. He's had some moments in the run game and in the pass game. He's also batted a couple passes down the line of scrimmage, which is something John Harbaugh is actually kind of keying in on. He thinks that's a really good weapon. Then he was talking about Banks and Thibodeau.
Banks.
Playing on their final year of their contracts. Thibodeau on the 5th-year option. Banks had his option declined, so he's just on the final fourth year of his rookie contract, and those guys trying to step it up.
Well, Thibodeau has never not practiced hard, and Thibodeau has been a very good player. I mean, has he lived up to where he was drafted? Probably not, but I think he also brings to the table. He's done a really good job in the run game, and I don't think that doesn't put up stats for you, but it is an integral part of the defense. But I want to circle back to Banks in the sense that, it obviously has not gone well for him since he's been a New York Giant, and last year was kind of a disaster for him. But these are still young guys. And when you suddenly have a coach, a position coach, and a coordinator, and a head coach now that's giving him a clean slate, I think that means a lot to a player. And I think what I'm seeing in Banks is he's taking advantage of a clean slate with a new coaching staff. And I think this coaching staff, certainly what they want to do defensively, John, plays more into what his strengths are, his attributes. Like Wink Martindale was the defensive coordinator his rookie year, and although Banks was flawed as a player, footwork wasn't great and awareness wasn't great, but we saw signs of why he was a first-round pick at points during that rookie season, and then it was a massive fallback under Shane Bowen. And now I think he's in a situation right now where he's being put in a position to have success. And I know there were some off-field things that, personal stuff, not bad, but things that people deal with in life that he was dealing with a little bit last year off the field. And I think all that stuff has kind of settled down for him. He's a new father, and I think he's grown up a little bit. Now, we'll see what he does with this opportunity, but I think John Harbaugh and this staff have given him a chance to reinvent himself. Now it's his job to now change those narratives about him.
And look, the early returns have been, I think, very positive, but none of this is going to matter until he does it in game situations, right?
Of course.
Because some of the issues he's had has been, all right, every play, is he super focused and locked on every play? He can have great coverage on a play. He just doesn't get his head around to locate the ball and knock it away. So these are all the little things.
Or sloppy at the line of scrimmage. Remember against Cleveland where they were just picking on him? They knew, he wasn't even ready. I think I think all those things, and I think John Harbaugh talked about this publicly about, or maybe it was Denard Wilson talked about, his technique and being consistent and making sure your footwork and not giving away what you're doing and being ready and being alert and aware of what's coming at you. We'll see, right? I mean, we're gonna find out in that first preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings. He's not going to be going against Justin Jefferson. No. We'll see in the dual practices with Miami, and we'll see in the preseason game against the Jets. He's gonna have to earn his spot. And we'll see what he does in the games because that's what matters the most.
Yeah, don't be grabby. Don't pull on jerseys for no reason. That was another thing that he's done in the past. He's got great coverage, but I'm going to grab his jersey and pull it even though I'm there. Stupid little silly things like that. Can he get away from that stuff in the game situations when the intensity level? I think that's something a lot of people, and look, I'm not a player, but I've talked to enough players, where the intensity level gets so high in these game situations, you almost lose your mind is a strong in expression, but you're kind of so adrenaline-ridden that you know what to do, but you're so into what's happening that all of all right, I have to do this technique, I got to think about this, think about that. It's all gone. You're just boom, 1,000 miles per hour and you're going.
That's what separates the great athletes in any sport to the ones that are mediocre or on the edge or don't make it.
They slow it down, right?
It slows down for them. It all slows down. The game slowed down for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in the biggest moments. The game slowed down for Tom Brady. The game slowed down for Eli Manning in the most critical moments. And they have clarity. They see things. And it almost as if it's happening in slow motion for them. They're keenly aware. So hopefully for Banks, he can get a level of that so he can match the mental part of it, harness that to match what he has physically, which is a lot of gifts.
So I think fans are well, I don't understand. Why doesn't that player know what to do? He does know what to do. If you get him in a calm moment on the side, he'll tell you exactly what coverage you're supposed to be in, exactly what technique you're supposed to play. The problem is when you're in it, you can't do it. That's the problem.
Right, and then it's, my bad. I don't know why I did that.
Correct.
I don't know why I grabbed him.
Correct.
And the coach is yelling, you had perfect coverage. What did you do? Why? I know. It's the ones that are able to funnel that out.
Correct.
And not make those mistakes.
All right, let's go to I haven't heard from Wilson in Roxbury, and I don't know how long. Wilson, happy summer, happy training camp, my friend. How are you?
How you doing, Johnny? Johnny, I didn't want to ruin your summer. That's why I didn't call you.
Wilson, I appreciate that.
Listen,
thank you.
But when I saw Bob there next to you, I said, I have to call. I'm sorry. I mean, Bob, man, real quick, if I would put a Mount Rushmore of, sports broadcasting, celebrities, it's you, Mike, and Joe B. Johnny, you're there, too. I just didn't know you long enough in the 90s, so don't get jealous. But
I don't have to
I'm going to put you there eventually.
Where's Paul Dottino? Come on.
Listen, I'm not calling Paul in the summer. I just ruined yours, not everybody else's. But all right, listen. All kidding aside, listen, it was really nice seeing you guys. But all right, look, Johnny and Bob, I'm gonna tell you something right now. The past 3 years have been a complete nightmare is an understatement for Giant fans. It was the pinnacle of unprofessionalism, ineptitude, just disgracefulness all around. And I'm ready to close this book. You know, we finally got
all right, so let's look ahead.
real head.
Look ahead, Wilson. Let's look ahead.
He's getting there, John. He's ramping up.
No, listen. So I'm gonna, I left the book open for some of the crazy stuff, like the backflipping and the political views, which I hopefully I don't see it again. So I want to close this book, Johnny. I want to open a new book with a new outlook. Having said that, though, I'm gonna tell you something right now. What I'm not gonna put in this book, Bob and John, is this. I'm not putting in this book, well, we play hard. Well, we were in one-score games. Well, the locker room is good. Well, there's no infighting. I'm done with that. I refuse to put those things. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You have a head coach that over a long period of time has won over 60% of the games that he's coached in the National Football League. You're not going to hear, we had 5 one-score games. You're not going to hear that. And by the way, some of the one-score games last year were back-end one-score games,
that is also
true. Of course it was. That's why irritated me even more.
Well,
they were out of it by 25 points in the fourth quarter. Then they scored 2 garbage touchdowns.
I'm going to give you a Parcells line. That's losers lament. That's losers lament. That no one wants to know about the one-score games you lost. Everyone wants you to win the games, and John Harbaugh's built his career on that.
Okay, so I gather, Bob and John, that you're with me on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, and I'm going to tell you, this is my view and my view only, Johnny and Bob. If I'm not one of the 14 teams that make the playoffs this year, Johnny and Bob, I'll be disappointed, and to me, it'll be a disappointing season.
Okay, let me ask you this, though.
Go ahead.
What happens if you're in contention, you finish 9-8, and you lose on a tiebreaker somehow? I mean, are you going to be that?
All right, I'm gonna rephrase it, Bob. If I'm relevant, if I by Christmas, right? My Christmas, I'm happy because the Giants. If we win this game and the other team loses that game, I'm in the playoffs, I'll take that.
That's it.
What I'm not going to take is being out of it by Thanksgiving. I'm not taking that.
Or Halloween. Unfortunately, I hate to keep bringing that up, but it's been Halloween a few times.
Wilson, I love this new attitude of yours. This is perfect. Can we carry this into the regular season? I love this.
But again, that
listen,
is.
I love you. I don't want to ruin your summer. But you're in West Virginia, middle of nowhere. I can't. Listen. I'll start ruining you when you're back in Jersey. Okay. I'm not a bad guy. You know that. I love you.
Why do you think? Giant ownership, John Mara and Chris Mara and the entire ownership team. Why do you think when it came time for looking for a coach, they had their eyes set on one guy when he got fired? Before Harbaugh got fired,
Bob, of course.
For that, it's for that reason.
We need it. We couldn't go back. Listen, I don't want to go back. That experiment that the Giants did for so many years, it didn't work. It did, and I said it for many years. I don't want to mention names, but I said that we needed somebody that when they walked in, they knew who the players knew who that guy was. And just by that alone, the atmosphere was going to change.
No, but Wilson, the problem is that one of those guys.
Obviously, listen.
But Wilson,
the coach can only do so.
The problem is that one of those guys wasn't available every year when they're trying to hire coaches before. Like John Harbaugh type coaches do not hit the market.
Correct.
Every offseason.
There had been a few though along the way that were there or interested. And look, New York is a different place. And I said this. To somebody that I'm very close with within the building, and I said, for my 2 cents, the New York Giants are not a starter job, right? Like, and if you look at New York, the 2 New York football teams, when Parcells went to the Jets, he made them a winner, right?
Yes.
But the coordinator route. Rex Ryan's the only coordinator between the 2 New York football teams that had any success. Now, Jim Fossil was only a coordinator, and he came to the Giants. They got to the playoffs in '97, and then they got to the Super Bowl in 2000. But there's been a long list for both teams of coordinators. But Coughlin comes in with experience, and you win.
Oh, well, yeah. You know what, Bob, real quick, before, Rex had a personality and a thick skin about him that kind of camouflaged some of his flaws, and that's why he was successful. But in New York will eat you alive. You know why? Not only about the media. Cole is like me, man. That Cole WFAN.
It's just different. It's just different.
Well, it's just different. But listen, before I go, listen, Johnny, listen, I am extremely positive this year. Now, the only pause that I have before, and I take that off the air, is, Bob, I'm not 100% sold on the quarterback. I know, hopefully, he turns out to be. I need to see more. Hopefully, he wins me over. And my last thing is this: I told Johnny this a million times, Bob, and Johnny says this, that I was crazy. The Giants need to treat the first game against Dallas like it's a playoff game. And I'll take it off the air.
Thank you, Wilson.
It was great seeing you, Johnny and Bob. Great seeing you guys. Have a good summer. I'll call you when the season starts.
Well, again, John Harbaugh, over a long period of time, I know I've said this a million times, I'm going to say it again. He's won over 60% of his games for a reason. He takes every game as if it is a Super Bowl.
Wilson is paraphrasing me a little bit there. His point has been, Johnny, if the Giants lose that first game, season's over. That's what I would push back on Wilson a little bit.
Season's not over. The season is not over. But he does make a good point. It's, I remember Parcells would always say, the fastest way to the postseason is to win your division.
Yep.
And the best way to win your division is you win all your home division games, and then you try to get a split on the road division games. And if you do that, you're probably going to have a great chance to win your division.
Yeah, at worst, you're 4-2.
So the last time I checked, the Dallas game is a home division game. So, yeah, you got to win that game. You're expected to win that
Especially,
game.
by the way, when in week 2, you're heading to the road to a team that you could argue has the most talented roster in the National Football League. I might have Aaron Donald back on the field with Myles Garrett in a few weeks.
Yeah, of course. And they'll have had a little bit of a layoff because they'll have played in Australia, traveled back. The Rams are one of the teams that are one of the favorites to potentially get to the Super Bowl and win it.
I think they are the betting favorite, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think they are.
I don't talk about gambling, John.
Yes.
I work for the New York Football.
Well, yes, I'm not talking about placing a bet. I was just talking about what the world is saying.
Anytime I hear anything about betting, I'm just like, I work for an NFL team. I cannot talk about that.
Same thing.
So he asked about Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart, from what I was able to glean last week when I was in Portugal to being here now, he looks fine, right? He looks fine. But I go back to this point of he's going into his second year in the National Football League as a quarterback. And I think what he did as a rookie, considering the circumstances of what was going on with the team and everything else, I think he gives you a tremendous ray of optimism of what he potentially could be. He's not a finished product. He's trying to take in a lot of information and learn this entire new offense, new coaches, new voices in his head, new ways of teaching, new concepts and everything else. It's going to take time. If you think that Jackson Dart is going to go from Jackson Dart, the rookie, who won 4 games, had 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, played some pretty inspired football, freelanced a lot. We all know about the running. If you think he's going to go from that to Tom Brady in his prime in 1 year, you're kind of kidding yourself. But I think all the makings are there. And here's the thing about Jackson Dart that has me very encouraged. And I'll tell you what it is, John. Because I do the show on Sirius, I get a chance to work with a lot of people that were former GMs or former coaches in the sport. And to a man, they all think very highly of him. They all really like his upside. They all see his flaws and things, but everything that he has as a flaw right now as a player, every one of them, and these are all former head coaches and offensive coordinators, every one of them says everything that is a flaw right now, that all can easily be fixed.
I agree.
It's the other things that they love about him that they say that you can't teach, that he has that certain guys do not have.
Like natural playmaking ability, the attitude, the competitiveness, all that stuff you can't teach.
Leadership.
Footwork in the pocket, you can work on that.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a million things you can work on.
Correct.
I mean, they had to – listen, Kerry Collins was he was a high pick. He took Carolina to the playoffs. Then he had his issues off the field, and, the Giants signed him off the scrap heap. And, that coaching staff with Sean Payton as the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach, they realized with Kerry it was like, hey, if we clean up his footwork, this guy's going to be dynamic because he's got all these tools. And we all know what he did in that NFC Championship game against the Minnesota Vikings. So things can be fixed, things can be cleaned up. But I think the core of Jackson Dart is something that you have to be excited about. But I don't want to be a false prophet here either. He's got to now do it, right? I mean, he's got to grow, but I think he's got the right people around him to get him to where he needs to go.
And Len, we're going to get to you in a second. Danny in New York wanted to talk about Dart. He hung up. I'm guessing you already answered his question on your last statement. And it's funny, if you look at the statistics last year, like where they rank and stuff like that, you would think heading into the season that the Giants' defense would be a much bigger question than the offense, right? They were ranked between 27th in defense, something like that, but like the 14th or 15th ranked offense, like they were pretty good last year offensively, right? And maybe my mindset's wrong and I shouldn't be thinking this way, and tell me if I am, but based on everything I've seen and just where resources have been allocated, generally speaking, I feel much more comfortable where I think I know where the defense is going to be this year as compared to the offense. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking about it that way, but that's kind of how I've internalized everything I've seen this offseason.
I see what you're saying because I think all of us feel that way. But to me, again, it's like the proof is in the pudding. I want to see.
No, I hear you.
In a game, I want to see them be able to stop the run on a consistent basis.
Well, Cowboys and Rams first 2 weeks, it'll be good tests.
You're going to get good tests. You're going to get good tests right out of the gate. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And do you have a healthy Scadaboo and a Malik Neighbors for a long extended period of time? Would they play one quarter together?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's reason to be optimistic on a lot of levels, and I think but I think you got to go into it like cautious optimism. Like, there's a lot of things this team looks a lot bigger, right? When they walk out of the locker room yesterday, and they walked out of the locker room, and I was sitting there talking with Banksy and whatever, and it's like they look a lot more like Giants than some past teams.
The Giants linebacker core looks like it could have been playing here in 1986.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bunch of 6'5" guys that are almost 250 pounds. It's crazy. Tremaine Evans and Orville Reese are raptors with their length. I don't mean velociraptors. I mean like the birds, the raptors. Huge wingspans. Anyway, let's go to Len in Columbia, Maryland. He's up next. Len, what's going on, pal?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great.
I hope the rain holds off. For you.
Yes, us too. It looks still pretty clear behind us. So right now I feel
Good.
okay about it.
Yes, it does. It does look clear. It's a nice picture. Hey, Bob. Good to talk to you. First of all, last time I called in, I ended the call by, and Bob, John remembers this. I ended the call by saying, "Hey, more talk. It's getting serious here." And then lo and behold, Wilson calls in. And when Wilson calls in, you know it's getting serious. And it's always good to hear his voice.
Len,
I'm glad he reached out today,
Len,
John.
real quick before you go, I know you asked me a question on your last call. Did you look at my practice report from yesterday? I got some of that info for you. Did you read it?
Good. Yes, I need it.
Okay, so here we go. The three guys I saw as the personal punt protectors in practice yesterday were Tyler Nubin, Micah McFadden, and Ryan Miller was the guy with the third group. I also saw Jason Pinnock was kind of hanging around back there too. So those are the kind of the guys that I saw with the personal punt protectors. And then the guys on the outside that were either some combination of gunner or vice players. I don't have them separated, so I put them all into kind of one big group. That were either the coverage guys, the gunners, or the return guys, the vice players on the gunners. Banks, Corey Black, Art Green, Raheem Lane, Jalen Hyatt, Bo Collins, Elijah Campbell, Dalen Cambry, Nick Jones, Damon Bankston, Jason Pinnock, and Quentin Hood. So those are all like about 12 different guys that were working in the combination.
I'm sure. I'm sure about that. But thank you for the update on the fullback spot on the punt team. I appreciate that. It's such an important position and often overlooked. And Belton did it pretty well last year. I like. He knew where the rush was coming from, and then he'd get down the field and get in there on the play and making the tackle. And I just think it's an important part of the game. So thanks for looking that up, John. Looking for that. I appreciate it, John. I wonder if you guys can give me a little feedback on these units and who's playing and what position they're playing. I assume along the offensive line that it's the five guys that we've been talking about all off season appear to be the first five.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Would
that be true? I mean, Thomason, Illuminor, Runyon, and Schmidt.
Yes.
Now, when you go to the second group, what do we got? Parker at center, Palale at one guard, Stinney at the other guard. What's happening at the tackle? Where are they doing Bo? Is he playing both sides or left side or?
Bo has been in the one-on-ones. Bo has been at left tackle. I have not watched him during team if he's been on the right side too. And Azudu has been the right tackle with the second team more times than not, from what I've seen.
Wow. Wow, that's 10 guys. And I assume then if you went to the so-called third team, you're talking about the rookie Francis. Where is he playing outside, John? Where does he appear to be?
J.C. Davis, you mean? He's been at J.C. Davis has been at.
Yes.
I believe he's been at left tackle, J.C. Davis, if I remember correctly.
I saw him there.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Yeah. And I guess Neal is inside.
Neal's
one of those third teamers.
Yeah, Neal has been at right guard. The undrafted rookie, I'm going to butcher the name, Chernecki, he's been at right tackle.
Was that the guy from Strasburg?
Yes, and by the way, Kubas has gotten some snaps at center, too.
Correct.
He's been working at center a little bit, Kubas, which has been fun to see.
He's done in the past.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, those, I don't know if they're going to keep 10, but those are probably, if they're going to go to 10, those are probably the 10. If they go to 9, I would think maybe Azudu's got an advantage over somebody. I mean, he's played 4 positions anyway, so he's got the versatility. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah. Tell me about the safeties. When they go to the 3 safety look, who's the third safety? Can you tell? Has anybody got an edge in that, John?
By the way, Stinney, by the way, has been very good too in one-on-one so far. You know what? They usually have a nickel corner out there. I have not seen a ton of 3 safety stuff yet.
No, I haven't either.
Okay.
At least I was only at yesterday's practice, but I didn't see 3 safeties on the field.
No. But I think honestly, I think Ardarius Washington and Pinnock are both going to be on this team, and they will both be options in those situations.
Correct.
Okay. Now, can he? Is it Washington? I'm losing the names now. The third safety, the guy from Baltimore.
That's Washington.
Washington or Pinnock,
Washington.
Yes.
Can he slide down to slot?
Yeah.
Phillips seems to be getting the snaps there, John.
Yeah. Drew Phillips has been the primary nickel. We've seen Nick Jones in there with the 2s, but Washington, when he was in Baltimore, he did slide down into the slot from time to time.
Correct.
Okay. Bob, I know you like Pinnock. Let me ask you a question. In my mind, if you're the 4th safety on a team, you got to play special teams. I mean, there's no reason. I've always viewed a 4th safety on a team, on a 53, 4th safety on a 53 as like the 51st most valuable player on that team. Can Pinnock, is he a good enough special teams player to keep that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's how he made his bones to make it with the Jets in the first place. was, he had to rely on special teams.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Jason Pinnock, I'm not going to put him in Canton or anything, but there's certain guys that you always see over the years that are just football players. Like Jason Pinnock is a football player. And he knows that his path has always been part special teams, and that's what got him in the league in the first place, and that's what will keep him in the league moving forward. So I think Jason Pinnock would do pretty much anything you asked him to do, and he would try to do it at the best level he could.
Okay, I wouldn't deny, Bob, that Jason Pinnock is a football player. I would just wonder if he's good enough to play in the NFL. I mean, he's lost some jobs, Bob.
Yeah, look, I don't think he's a guy you're marching out there as your number one safety, but he's a guy as your third or fourth safety line that can come in, he'll be reliable, he'll be in the right spot when you need him to be, and he's going to be a good special teams player. So I think the way you described the way you vision a fourth safety on the roster, that to me is what Jason Pinnock, it's like the perfect spot for him.
Correct. I mean, and the other thing about Jason Pinnock is he's a really good tackler.
Yeah, he is.
And that's really important.
Okay. All
by the way, Len,
I get it.
Len,
I understand. I'm just not as high on Jason.
Yeah, Len.
Before, but
Len, real quick. Len, real quick. Both Holland and Nubin were on the first team kick coverage teams. What I saw in practice yesterday too. So Harbaugh's going to use some of the starters on kick coverage based on what I've seen. So just mentally prepare yourself for that.
One other thing about Nubin, I think it was yesterday you were talking about, a safety sliding down closer to the line of scrimmage, and maybe long term. I hope it's at safety for Nubin. I really do. That would be a real setback if he doesn't make it as a safety. But as a guy sliding down into that slot, maybe they ought to bulk him up and play him as some kind of hybrid linebacker or something if the safety thing doesn't work out.
It's funny when you say that, because Newman actually said he's dropped around 8 or 9 pounds from last year to this year. He's back to about 205, which is where he played his rookie year and where he played in college.
Okay.
He was around 213 last year.
Okay. Can I say one about the receivers? Yeah. Just about every Giants fan, I think when the first 53 comes out, just about every Giants fan is going to be disappointed because they're going to find there's going to be somebody who's going to be disappointed by the last guys who don't make the roster. I mean, it's really crowded in there. But some of it depends. Is Slayton practicing?
Yes.
What's going on with Darius?
He was limited yesterday, but he's been practicing. Yeah.
Okay. You think he's you think he's a sure thing on the first 53?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Len.
Okay.
Nice
You can't ignore that speed. You just can't ignore that speed. That's for sure.
Well, he also
but somebody's going to be. I mean, because there's like 8 or 9 of them, and for me, God forbid Beckham doesn't make it. I really want Odell to be on that first 53, but we'll see how it plays out. But I think there's probably going to be a little different.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks
for taking my call, Bob. Great to talk to you.
Great talking with you as well.
Let me just say one more thing, John. I called in today, Bob, because my golf game got rained out.
Oh, that's not good.
Thank you, Len.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Hey, have a good day. Thanks, John.
So Slayton, you can't. He's going to be on the 53 because A, he's one of your team leaders, and B, he has a contract that you don't want to eat that money, right?
Yes.
So that's
checks
number
both
one.
boxes.
There's a couple things in there, like as far as like Pinnock is concerned, they're not asking him to be the starter, but I think he's a better safety. Dane Belton was great in the box, but I think Jason Pinnock is a better overall safety than Dane Belton, right? So that he asked about the special teams part of it. The other thing that is very encouraging about this team, John, is that too many times in the past, over the last 10 years or so, when we would sit there and start thinking about the 53-man roster, the first 53, sometimes it was hard. Sometimes it was hard getting past 45.
Well, there's a reason they would add like 6 guys on waivers after they did the initial 53.
Right, so you know that the front office and the personnel department will have done a good job if when the time comes for cuts, that you wind up losing some players that you thought might make it. And then how fast do they get picked up by other teams
We almost got to the first show without a train going by. Almost.
Well,
You're very close.
That thing is loaded with coal.
That would be a coal train. That is correct.
That is loaded with coal. Well, we are in White Sulphur
Virginia.
Springs, West Virginia.
All right, couple YouTube comments how to get to you, Bob. William Davidson, D1K, Papa, exclamation point. Prince and Mukamara, 1563. Let's go, Bob Papa. See, people are excited to see you, Bob.
Good to see them.
Lisa Passmore, I am coming to my first game this season. I'm very excited. I wanted to go when Eli was playing, but it wasn't a good time financially for me. I can't wait. And I think that's the feeling we've got from a lot of Giant fans, Bob. They're all very excited about
Well,
this.
look at the town hall. It was the most enthusiastic thing I've seen. Obviously, the 100-year celebration town hall was one of the great things I've ever participated in my career. But, the energy is high. People are fired up. I mean, even people that aren't Giants fans. I mean, I work on the PGA Tour Champions, work these tournaments. Obviously, all these guys are into college football. They're all in NFL football. And even guys that are not Giants fans, whether it's players or caddies, they want to talk about the Giants. They want to talk about John Harbaugh. They want to talk about Scadaboo. They want to talk about how they're going to be better this year. I just feel it. I think there's a lot of optimism from Giant fans and people that just love the NFL that think that the Giants are pointed in the right direction.
All right, Joey2903. Yo, what's up, chat? My first time here. I'm getting my week 1 ticket soon. Let's go. And then Breeze804. Hopefully the offense wins the day of practice. Now, I want to address Breeze very quickly, and then we get your final thoughts before we say goodbye. Yes, the defense has been, I think, ahead of the offense the first couple weeks of practice. John Harbaugh said as much the other day.
Always is.
But it's always that way. But I will say this, too. It hasn't been where, the offense has not been able to function.
Which we have seen.
That is correct. We have seen that before. This is more like, all right, the offense isn't consistently making plays, but every practice we still get
some
3 to 5 plays where it's like, all right, that was really nice. All right, you got the one pass over the top. There hasn't been a practice where it's been complete ineptitude on that side of the ball, which, to your point, we have seen that before.
No, we have seen over the years some practices where the offense really couldn't function against the defense. And I think the thing that was alarming about some of that, too, is we all knew what the shortcomings were of the Giants' defense.
That's correct.
At that point in time.
That's
so
correct.
That made it even more alarming. And you and I like to joke about the Cincinnati thing when Marvin Lewis was the head coach of the Bengals and we had
I told the story yesterday.
Yeah, it was like we went into all of that. Odell was coming off his injury too, so he was limited. But I think he practiced. He went against Dre Kirkpatrick, I think.
That was 2015 summer?
Yeah,
or
summer
2014?
like that.
It was one of the two.
14 or 15. And I'll never forget, we were very excited about the Giants and their prospects and everything else.
Yep.
And then we go to Cincinnati to play the Bengals and practice against the Bengals. And then Andy Dalton, they had T.J. Hushmanzada. They had talented receivers. Tyler Eifert, good running backs.
18 touchdowns that week against us at practice.
They had really good defense.
Geno Atkins.
Yeah, they were really good. They were that was part of their run of 4 straight postseason appearances.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis was the head coach.
Yeah, and they should have won 2 of those playoff games, and they didn't. And we were we're coming from camp, and looks really good, doesn't it? And it was just like
it was a bloodbath. It was bad.
And I was like, you know what? It just means that we're really. It was 14.
14.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't 15 because 15. If you remember the Giants in 15, Ben McAdoo's first year as offensive coordinator, Eli put up ungodly numbers.
Yeah,
but that was the year.
The defense couldn't stop anyone.
They set an NFL record for most losses with the lead with 2 minutes to go.
That's what Tom Coughlin go for it on fourth down in the fourth quarter every week because he didn't trust the defense to get a stop.
Well, yeah, I remember the one game where they threw a pass to Odell because he was trying to score a touchdown and everyone was killing Coughlin. Why didn't you just run it there and use the clock? And his whole thing was like, because we needed to go up 2 scores. If we're still up 1 score, we're going to get beat. It was against the Patriots, one of them, and he was like, does it really matter? He basically, without throwing his defense under the bus, he basically said, does it really matter if Tom Brady has 1 minute and 6 seconds or 52 seconds?
I remember that. Remind me. Was Spags back that year, or did he come back the following year?
Spags was there in 15.
And that's why it was so jarring, because he was a really good defensive coordinator. You know how bad the talent had to be for Spags to have a defense that bad?
It was an epic year of the defensive numbers. It was like record-setting, the things that, and then that was the game where Landon Collins dropped the Brady interception. But there was a whole bunch of other games down the stretch, and everyone thought Coughlin lost his mind. But no, he was actually coaching around his defense. So it was 14 in Cincinnati.
Okay.
That was like...
I still remember Tyler Eifert just catching like 1 billion touchdowns in that practice.
Unbelievable.
It was not good.
No.
Bob, final thoughts before we say goodbye for Giants fans.
To your point now, let's go full circular on this. To your point about the defense having the upper hand. The defense always has the upper hand the first 2 weeks of training camp. Okay? They just do. They have less to install than the offense has to install. With all due respect to defensive players, offense is much more complicated. Their playbook is appreciably bigger. You have a second-year quarterback. So it's for all 32 teams, the defense wins early. But to your point, the difference about what we are seeing out of the 2026 Giants is, although the defense may have the upper hand in these practices, it's not like the offense aren't getting their share. It's not like they're not having success, not moving the ball. We saw it in the red zone, situational. Down by 6 or down by 7, X amount of time, ball on the 18-yard line, 1 timeout offense, 1 timeout defense, having to get the ball into the end zone. They got it in the end zone. That was good.
3 scores at the end of the game.
Sure.
At the end of practice yesterday. And look, I'll just say this too finally. We got the joint practice against the Dolphins about 15 days from today. I believe it's the Thursday, so in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We have that joint practice against Miami. And I said this on the other show the other day, where you don't really know what your team is until you see them line up against a different team. Then we'll see it in the first preseason game against Minnesota too, but I don't know if we're going to how many starters we're going to see out in the field for that.
We're not going to see many.
But we're going to see one-on-ones versus ones when the Giants play the Dolphins. And this is throwing no shade at the Miami Dolphins. But we know that
it's not the Bengals of 14.
The Dolphins' primary focus is not winning in 2026 at this point. They're kind of organizationally preparing for 2027 and the draft
and 28.
What comes next. So I would very much like to see this team prove what we think we're seeing in practice against each other and come out there and try to be the Bengals when they play the Dolphins in those joint practices in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, be the what the Bengals were to us.
Exactly right.
Right. Boy, you're doing a preview of Bengals joint practice, Dolphins joint practices.
Well, you brought up the joint practices.
2 weeks
I wanted to bring it
now.
up. Sorry. Yes. Well, I'll repeat myself in 13
We'll be there.
days. It's fine. We will. Imagine how hot it's going to be down there for those joint practices.
I live in Florida. It's hot.
That's true. It's going to be hot. Bob, good stuff, my friend.
I would assume the practices will be in the morning.
Yeah, I would think that's probably true.
They have to be.
Well, John Harbaugh likes afternoon practices.
I don't care. That's listen.
Jordan wants them to be in the morning. I know that.
Put it this way: either in the morning, or like my son with his team now has been in pads for this is week 3 now in pads.
Twilight practices.
Yeah, practice starts at 6. You cannot practice, and we're in Jacksonville. We're not even in Miami.
And that's like hours south.
Hour?
Hours.
Yeah, 5.5.
Yes.
South. Yeah, no, so my guess it'll be either morning or early evening, but I guess with the game being Saturday afternoon, it'll probably have to be morning.
Yeah, I don't know about that schedule either. The afternoon game on a Saturday in Florida. Thanks, league office, putting that in the afternoon.
They want a game on from noon until 10 p.m. at night, wall to wall on NFL Network of just preseason games.
Yeah, so put the game in Lambeau Field at 1 o'clock and put the game that's in Miami at 7. Please help me out.
There might be better matchups at 7.
And I will, since Datino's on play-by-play in that game, I will be on the sideline, so I will be sweating it out on that sideline with everybody else.
I'll be on
Good
NBC
times.
for New York.
That's right, and I'll be on sideline on the
Phil
radio.
Simms and Carl Banks.
Paul Datino's very excited, as you might imagine, for that
Sure.
game. Yes. Everybody, thanks for being with us on Big Blue
Until he
Kickoff
gets
Live.
to that booth.
He's got the air conditioner condensation
Folks, you would
dripping on his shoulder as he's calling the game.
I know it's first world problems, but folks, If you ever saw the radio booth, home and away, by the way.
Yes, they're next to each other.
In Miami, you would be like, this can't be real.
But you know what? The only good thing is that the windows don't open. So it will be nice and air-conditioned. He will not be hot in the booth, but he will have the air conditioner dripping on him, and he's like basically in the middle of the end zone, too, which is also fun. You can't see a darn thing. I didn't mean to have bad memories for you, Bob. Sorry.
Thank God we're not in that division.
Where's the TV booth in Miami? Is that a better spot, do you know?
Well, they're not splitting their TV booth with us, I learned, which when any team comes to MetLife Stadium, their telecast, with the booth at MetLife Stadium, the network TV booth is big. So the Giants are nice enough to put up a partition, and visiting gets one side, we get the other side.
That way both teams are at the 50.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of other teams do not have that same level of sharing when we go on the road. Cleveland, Detroit, and they don't split their network TV booth with visiting TV, which is Miami's not splitting theirs.
So where are you?
Someone told me we're in a corner somewhere. I don't care. It's TV. It's different than radio.
I know.
It's TV. It's different. We could work. We can make it work from there. The radio is it's unbelievable. It's hard to describe.
And I've not been able to find a spotter for him either, so I'm still working on that.
But what is a spotter going to do?
Yeah, because he can't see either,
He's
right?
got the same bad view as
Good point.
And then you got the monitor with the 7-second delay or the 5-second delay, so
you can't watch the TV either.
The play is over in front of you before you're even seeing it on the monitor.
Good luck, Paul. for Paul to team.
All right, next time Paul's on the show, folks, just give him nightmares. Call in. Give him nightmares about the Miami radio booth.
For Bob Papa, I'm John Schmeelk. That's all the time we have for Big Blue Kickoff Live on this supersized episode on Giants.com, the Giants app, and Giants YouTube channel. We got practice in about 2 hours or so. We'll be out there. Thanks for being with us. It's all brought to you by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants, though I do see some dark clouds over those hills over there. I'm getting a little nervous now.
Don't get nervous. Just relax.
Yes.
I work in golf. You know, you have to remain positive in this stuff, that they could break up. They can bounce off some of the rolling hills and mountains.
Bouncing off hills, okay.
It happens, and they break up, and sometimes they just disperse.
All right, well, knock on wood. Hopefully that happens. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow, 10:30, Big Blue Kickoff Live. Me and Matt Sytek, and then Brandon Lennon on Friday to wrap things up. See you then.